and the spiritual and emotional cost of safe thorns. So, have you ever stayed in a situation that poked and scratched at your soul simply because you were afraid of what was waiting for you in the open field? Have you? Today we are talking about the briar patch. The briar patch. Not as a place of pain, but as a place we mistake for a fortress. And that is something we have to be careful with. That briar patch it is that place. It's scratchy, it's itchy, it's pokey, it's not nice, but it's safe because I'm afraid of what's going out there. That's the thing that keeps us in that situation, and we have to learn of how to get out of this thing. Survival is not the same as prosperity. Because you're surviving, you're not being prosperous. I mean, emotional prosperity, spiritual prosperity, one of those. We wouldn't even touch financial prosperity yet. Just because you aren't being consumed by a fire, that doesn't mean you aren't being stung by thorns. You see, when we take the thorns out, that's when we get the fragrance of the rose. That's when we can go closer and sniff, because the thorns are gone. But the thorns are there, and if we see the thorns, we won't touch that stem. We will keep our hands away from it. The rabbit loved the briar patch, his happy place. Yeah, because he thinks he's safe there. But the thing about taking that briar patch and making it safe for you is just not one of those things we should really, really look forward to. Because later on, it hurts. The point I'm going to make is this. We often accept a briar patch life because we think the thorns protect us from something worse. But a cage made of needles is still a cage. So when we are in that cage and we're sitting there, and the thorns are pricking, and we turn around and we say, it's not so hard. It's, a real life example. He insults me. She pushes me. They do this, but at least he doesn't run around. I get that so much. And at least she cooks, and I can't cook. So you say in this abusive relationship because they can do something you choose not to do for yourself. And tomorrow our topic is nothing is impossible. We praise ourselves for our resilience. We say, I can handle the scratches. But why are we measuring our strength by how much disrespect we can endure? Why? Who told us it was okay? Where did we get that from? You cannot love me, and yet you're still making me unhappy by the things you do to me. You know what it is to be walking behind two people. The man is a few steps ahead, and the lady is coming slowly, as women walk, and in their 20s or 30s. But from that point, the rabbit, the thorn looks back and scratches the surface of her body by saying, aren't you walking? And using the F word. To say, you need to walk faster. No, that is disrespect. And that is a thorn, that is a scratch. You're not good enough. Oh, you used to do this better, but no, you're not doing it so well. Or the one I got, if I could do this like as well as you could, I would do it much better than you. I love that one because you haven't done it yet. So you see, we have to stop enduring all of this disrespect. You stop feeling the sharp edges after a while because you're sitting in it for so long. So you stop feeling the edges that are poking. It's normal. A push here and a shove here and a plate flying across the floor or the kitchen or this there. You say, oh, okay. At least, and I love the at least. There's always at least. They're not doing that. Because if they cross that line, I'll move. And when they do cross that line, they're oblivious to it because they never realize what they're looking for. You become numb when you accept this. Emotional pillar begins to crumble because you're traded your self-respect for false sense of security. Like Yolanda said, is it Yolanda? Yeah. The rabbit. Lawanda said, the rabbit loves the briar patch. It's his happy place. It's his safe place. Because nobody's going to come there. The scratches are okay. I'll just take it. Nobody needs to know. I'll cover it with makeup. I'll do something else. And hey, both sex do it. That doesn't mean they're not abusive women. You can be abusive and be very nurturing. Oh, look at you. Look at how you look. Look at how you're walking. But you forget. Like yesterday, I had a young lady visit me. And I was surprised to see an educated woman told me this. Tears came to my eye. I didn't let her see, but I was so hurt by what she was saying. Oh, who manages the money in your relationship? Oh, he does. Because, I couldn't be bothered. I said, so he does everything, all the investments. I said, whose name are on the investment account? Oh, his name. But I have the password. I said, the what? I said, having the password doesn't give you any right to go into those accounts. Everywhere has a camera. If you go to the machine, they see you. Why aren't you involved in this thing? Do you have a retirement fund? No. I have a tax-free savings account. I said, okay. But he told me, now listen, ladies, and tell your children, your grandchildren, your neighbor, the candlestick maker, women, men, stupid. This is just crazy. He told me after he has maximized his tax-free savings account, he will now start putting it in mine. You cannot maximize it. Every year, the government gives you a certain amount to put in that tax-free savings account. Every year. It started in 2009. What it means is that you can put as a certain amount, there's a limit every year, and it started at $5,000. And there was a time it was 11.5. They said it was too much. Ordinary humans cannot do it, so they dropped it again. But when you think of it, we had a government, a conservative government, that what we call, he went into Pandora's box. He opened the old age security. In Canada, the government of Canada gives you a gift at the age of 65 of about $800 a month if your income does not surpass like $90,000. So he went in and he opens Pandora's box. He changes the rules. If you were born after 1957, you have to wait until you're 67 instead of 65 to get it. And then in that government, you must remember, not everybody, no matter what government, is all the same. Then there was Flaherty, the Minister of Finance, and he did something amazing. He created a tax-free savings account. That tax-free savings account, from my children, people that are in their 20s, their 30s, their 40s, whatever old you are, you have the option to do that same amount. But when it was done in 2009, I was still employed. I looked at it and I said, okay. So now that they have done this, that means by the time you are 65 or 67, if you do the amount, right now it will over $300,000. Therefore, you won't qualify for old age. They won't give it to you because you have money that you have put in there and it's growing with no tax on the interest or whatever you make. So if he's telling her, think about it, that we are going to max mine out, when is he going to stop maxing his? Because every year he has to put money in. And she didn't. I said, you cannot do that. I had to really take my time to frame the words. And you guys know that is really challenging for me. The tax research, I had to explain to her what your 401k does. I wanted to cry. She's 31. And she said to me, well, I'll have my pension. I said, yes, you will. I said, I have my pensions too. But I'll tell you what the 401k does, or the RRSP does. It gives you the opportunity to have experiences your pensions is not able to give you. That's what it does. So you want to travel? You want to do this? You want to change this? You want to give your grandchildren or that? Guess what? Your 401k is like your secret weapon of cash. That's what it is. And then I said, you need to talk to the accountant and ask him what is your limit on both of those, and you need to find a way. And I had to tell her, I said, do not go shouting and becoming bold. I said, you work it. If you're living with a man, you better find his weak spot and work it. And make sure you're able to make him believe you need to have it too. So I said, you have no control over this. No. So that's why, but she thought it was, she thinks it's safe. This person thinks that letting this man safe, but if Colin was there this morning, she would tell you the sad faces you see when they are in their 70s, the man dies and they come to the bank and they have no idea how a tax bill, a phone bill, how anything was paid. And they have no access to anything. And the only thing you can pay in a bank and the person is not incapable or dead is a bill on their name, their funeral expenses. After that, it has to go through the usual stuff. So you to get money to go to grocery shopping, I cannot give it to you. Your name is not on the account. You have a card. Is your name on that account? That you can use. But where is the main account? So you see, the briar patch is comfortable. I'd rather be in that situation than not have a man in my life. And I said, why did that person travel to this country, this particular country, from this particular country? And she suddenly, like she saw the light, or she's experienced it already. I guess to find a wife. I said, yes, to find a wife, you can twist and turn and bend and twist. And that's what people have to understand. So you understand, you become numb. Your emotional pillar begins to crumble because you traded self-respect for the false sense of security. I have a man. We need to always have an example without which we might not be able to relate to certain things. So many years ago, a woman told me she was staying with her husband. Her reasoning, he doesn't have affairs. That was her protection. But in exchange for that one safety, she lived with a man who was tight with money, called her stupid, and showed her zero respect. And that is another true story. She was living in a briar patch, thinking the thorns were keeping the wolves away, not realizing the thorns themselves were draining her life force. Just draining her. He doesn't have affairs. Okay. You guys saw the movie The Godfather? What was her name? Lucia? When they came to tell her the husband was having an affair, she said, I better go to church and light a candle. Thank God he's having. That is what that woman should do. Go to church and pray to God that he let him have an affair so you can get into the account. Anything. You see, that's what happens. You think you're safe. You besides an example, you need analyze this thing. Just like Bear Rabbit, like Lawanda said, she felt safe in the thicket because she knew where the sharp parts were. That's why she felt safe, guys. She felt safe because she knew where it was safe. She knew if she cleaned the house and cooked and did all these things, he would be great. He'd be nice. So she knew what to do. She knew she was safe in the thicket of the briar patch because she knew where the sharp parts were. She could maneuver. But she couldn't run, though. She couldn't run. She couldn't dance. She couldn't grow. She couldn't grow. She was protected from the outside world, but she was being pricked to death from the inside. And that is something we have to learn to understand. That protective relationship that we find ourselves in, and we stay there because it's comfortable. I did it on a personal relationship. What about a job? What about that job you have and you are afraid to reach to grab another one? Why? I am too old to move until they give you a retirement package that is not enough to make you live. What about the place where you stay, your house? What, you don't like it? What are you doing about it? We need to understand if it has thorns, we need to remove the thorns and get out. Or just get out. Take the chance and get out. Take the chance that there has to be a better option for you. The person that told you you're not good enough, you're stupid, you're this and you're that, and they're keeping you back. Or they look at you and they tell you you cannot apply for that position because you do not have what it takes. Whereas you know deep down you have Michael Jordan level talents. You can do. You have to spread your wings. You have to take a chance in the water. It might look deep and dirty, but just in case, if you swim lower, you will see clearly. So you have to, this job you're doing, and sometimes they have the audacity not to give you the position, but tell you to train the new person coming in. And because you need that income to pay for the bills, you do it. But if you're going to do it, you're going to put yourself on your resume as a trainer. You're going to choose to say, I train people to do this and to do that. And then you send that resume all over the world. You don't know which door is going to open. You don't send it at 6 o'clock in the night time. You get somebody to look at the